Today it's the 3DWrap.it Fanatec quick release support and magnetic shifter mod. I ordered it and it took about, 4 days or so to get to me. And we've got a nice little envelope with some 3D printed parts, some stickers in there, some hardware, screws, fasteners, and it all looks pretty high quality stuff. It definitely looks like it's 3D printed with that sort of textured look that most 3D printed stuff has, but looks to be pretty good stuff. I was hoping that QR code was instructions. It was not, but no big deal. So let's get started. First thing is to take the wheel off your rig, and then there are these 6 Allen head bolts that hold the quick release to the wheel. So you just get those loosened up. I tried using I have a tool with multiple Allen heads, and it's just not quite long enough. I ended up just finding a loose Allen wrench to do this. We're going to speed this up as I get all 6 fasteners off of it, and then we can remove that whole quick release, the wheel side of the quick release. It's just the stock quick release. I am working on the GT DD Pro, so that came off, right? All looks good, and then really you don't even have to actually take it off. So then you've got this sort of thicker collar support that goes over the existing quick release, and then it comes with longer Allen head bolts, and that's it. So super simple. Well, I guess that's not it. I'll show you here in a second. So I put the first 4 Allen head screws in because the 2 on the sides are actually part of the magnetic shifter mod. And then you can see here there's a hole coming through laterally from the side, and the part comes with Allen head bolts, that very small ones that go through, and the nut kind of fits right into the 3D printed part, so that you don't really need a wrench. It just becomes the holder for the nut. Pretty straightforward. Those just hold, kind of squeeze that collar together, and once that's in, then we just have the 2 side fasteners. And here you can see I am test fitting, well, not test fitting, we're just going to install it. So this is one side of the magnetic shifter mod. This will become a little bit more obvious here once the other parts are installed. So for the left and right side, pretty straightforward. Comes with an Allen head bolt. The only weird thing was that it had been threaded in on the opposite side, and that threw me off the first time I tried to install. Not a big deal. Not sure why they would do it that way, but who knows. It only took a minute to figure out. And so that screw is going through the magnetic shifter mod and the new QR quick release support. And I just kind of went around and kind of got everything finger tight first, and then went back around and gave it a little more of a nudge. I did not get a torque wrench out for anything like this. It's all plastic parts, and doing this kind of stuff for half a century, you start to kind of get a feel for how much torque it needs. So this is going to be the part that goes underneath the shifter from this angle, and then there's a part that goes on top. So that little nut kind of slides into a slot, which I had a little bit of trouble with, so I had to either push it in with a fingernail or an even smaller Allen wrench. So it was just a little tricky. I had watched their video of install, and they kind of ripped through it very quickly. So I kind of wanted to leave this in so anyone who's looking at this has maybe a little bit more detail, and if you struggle, you're not alone. Wasn't too bad though, it just took a few minutes. So I've got those, the nuts are now slotted inside of that 3D printed plastic piece, and then that's going to go underneath. There is an orientation for left or for up and down, I should say. There's kind of a little, you can see that notch. So it does have there is a right way and a wrong way, but it's pretty obvious when you go to slide it in. So then you hold that piece in and bring the other piece, the other part that was packaged with this goes on the top. So I slid the Allen bolts in, and then when you go to kind of place it, put it in place, the magnet's gonna grab it very quickly, and they're pretty strong magnets. So I ended up knocking the bottom off, but so I'm using a small, even smaller Allen wrench to kind of push the nut in on that bottom piece, so that I could get the bolt threaded into the nut. It was a little tricky, but it just takes a little time to kind of push it in there, and then move on to the top one, get all that nice and snug. Again, no need to crank these on with plastic, especially 3D printed plastic. So I could tell immediately there is a much stronger tactile feel to the magnetic shifter, or to the shifter, with this mod. These are pretty strong magnets, and it does give a nice kind of thud click when you're grabbing these, but just feel wise, it just gives it a much more mechanical, substantial feel when you're shifting. And here it is in action. Hard to really show you what it feels like. Here's a close-up though, get a little better look for how it all goes together. I did a similar mod on a G29 magnetic shifter, and I will say this is much stronger, much more substantial. I definitely recommend it if you've got the Fanatec GT DD Pro. It's a nice improvement.